All right, getting all the cameras set up this morning. Oh my goodness. Well, good morning, friends. And yes, it is morning. It is actually the morning of Worship on Wheels. I am a little bit behind. Have you ever felt that way? Well, I certainly feel that way right now. But I'm going to stop here in just a second. I'm going to read a little Bible verse to you. I try not to do all that while I'm riding. That's not a real good idea to be driving down the road reading. Although I see people do it all the time. Let's not create a bad habit, right? We have our habits, and we need to try to keep them good. Like I always say, the only way you can create a bad habit by simply stopping a good one. That's just how it works. A bad one will naturally fill it in. All right, so let's pull over right here. Nothing coming. Here's the Bible verse. It's out of Matthew 25, verse 35. It says, "For I was hungry and you gave me food. I was thirsty and you gave me drink. I was a stranger and you welcomed me. I was naked, you clothed me. I was sick and you visited me. I was in prison and you came to me." And the righteous will say, "Lord, when did we see you hungry, feed you, or thirsty, give you drink? When did we see you a stranger and welcome you, or naked and clothe you? And when did we see you sick and in prison and visit you?" And the king will answer them, "Truly I say to you, as you did it for any of the least of these, my brothers, you did it for me." Wow. Wow. If that doesn't change your motivation a little bit, I don't know. I don't know what it'll take. Now, I could stop it right there, right? Close the shield. It's actually a little cool this morning. It's nice. It's it was 75 in my garage, and I just pulled out a few minutes ago. It's already dropped to 70, so it's in the 60. Now it's 68. So yeah, it's probably low 60s out here. It's cool. It's nice. Beautiful morning. But doing for the least of these, years ago I was involved in prison ministry, and I never found anything, honestly, any more rewarding than prison ministry. Prison ministry was wonderful. And it wasn't long after that, I'd been involved with it for quite some time. I went through a lot of crazy things in my life, and you guys know my story, so I'm not going to reshare all that, but it forced me to have to move and do a lot of things in my life. Things that I really didn't want to do, but that I did. And one thing led to another. I found myself in another state, and requirements to be in prison ministry and who's allowed in the prison and all that stuff. And then COVID, there's all kinds of crazy things. And I've done a couple of things with prison ministry here, but it's been minimal because the way it's set up, it's just vastly different. But if you have a chance to get involved in something like that, I highly recommend it. I think you'd love it. But what I want to do is I want to flip that coin. I mean, it's always easy for us to say, well, we're doing those things. But here's another motivator for you, and as a coach, I always try to look at every side of it. What is the athlete feeling? What is the coach feeling? What is the opposing athlete feeling? How can I take that drive and turn it into something even more special? So this morning, I was thinking about something that happened to me yesterday. And God spoke to me this morning through this little verse, because this was not my intended worship on wheels. As often, I get down to the last minute and, it's not what I'm supposed to be doing. This is what I'm supposed to be doing. So yesterday, I did my first track day. Yeah, a motorcycle track on my SV650. And I'm going to tell you, it was quite humbling. It really was. I consider myself a decent rider. I do. Man, y'all, I felt after session 2 or 3, I honestly felt like I was probably the worst person on the track. Now, after looking at some film, I wasn't, but I sure felt like it. And that feeling that we get, we always want to say, man, I'm tough, and you could say what you want, it doesn't bother me. You can do what you want, it doesn't bother me. And then we lay down at night and we lay in that bed in the dark room and we can't sleep because we're thinking about an unkind word that might have been said to us. And we're playing it over in our mind because we weren't as good as we thought we should have been, or weren't as good as we could be if we just worked at it a little harder. And what I discovered yesterday is that I have a lot of work to do. And how someone treated the least of these, which, like I said, I felt I was the least of those. Now, I know I'm taking this to a very minute area, but I think that God wants to work in every area of your life. And I think that if you see people that are struggling with anything, with me as a coach, if I see a swimmer, when you see a swimmer and you see his eyes welling up with tears, or someone hiding in the bathroom because they're afraid, they feel belittled, they feel less, they're the least. Now, it may not be the least of these in prison, it may not be someone who's sick, it may not be this, it may not be that, but for that general area where I am in that moment, and that God is the God of the now, you know. He's the God of eternity, but he's also the God of now. And so what am I going to do for the least of these in that moment? And what I've discovered is those are the defining moments, because that's what your life consists of. It's these tiny moments of now. What can we do for the least of those now? And when you see people struggle like me, what could you do for me to make me not quit, to make me want to continue to go on? Well, I can tell you one thing you do on this channel. You make kind comments, and you know you're engaged in the channel. And honestly, that's why this channel still exists. The amount of time that I put in it and the frustration levels that you experience by doing anything well. And I really do try to do a good job with this channel. It's through treating me the way you treat me that keeps me going. And what I've found is that when you deal with the least of the world, the ones who struggle the most, and we're the most kind to them because they need lifting up the most. Not saying that that's necessarily the case here, but it's important. It's important to lift others up. You know, I'm a firm believer in the lift as you climb mentality. I'm going to do a whole lesson on that, but suffice it to say that yesterday I felt like I was the least of these, and I had some really good people working with me, criticizing me. Oh, there was an animal went across the road. Couldn't tell what it was. Maybe the camera will pick it up. But I could not, in my mind, because you're with your group, you know, you don't see what everyone else is doing. You're with your group, and you don't have rear view mirrors. And I was the guy right behind the instructor, and I'm like, man, I feel like I'm just blowing my lines and everything. This is terrible. And they were very kind to me, and they could see the frustration on my face as I felt like I should be doing better. So I want to thank the FSU PD, that's Florida State University Police Department, who sponsored the track day yesterday, for treating me so kindly and lifting me through my frustration. I was happy, I had a good time, but it was very, very frustrating. And then you take something that's really critical, like someone who's devastatingly ill. You know, right now, Lamont is not doing real well. And, you know, I'm watching that as close as I can. Now, I'm not, like I said, I don't know them, but keep praying for him. I got another email from a subscriber this week who had, who almost had a ruptured appendix, a very dangerous little situation there. Be praying for his recovery. I know he would appreciate it. I appreciate it when you pray for folks. And if you have prayer requests, don't hesitate to send them. I'll drop them on Worship on Wheels. I try to keep these things short because of the way that it is, but this one's running a little long, and I know that. So how do we treat the least of these? Well, I hope that when you are the least, that someone will come along beside you and lift you up and help you through your dark time, your dark moment, whether it's something really small that feels big or it's something that is just massive in your life that you just need tremendous prayer and love and support. I hope that there's someone that will come up beside you and help you. I want to thank everyone for being so kind to me and all of the things that you do. I'm overwhelmed at times, honestly. I'm just overwhelmed with how kind people can be. And I know there are some nasty people in this world, but by and large, man, you guys make the world a better place, and I want to thank you. So there you have it. Another episode complete. I want you to remember this, my friends. Yes you, you are loved, and so am I, and that's great news. And we got work to do. Let's go change the world. I'll see you on the road real soon.